Hello everyone, my name is Saeed and I'm going to be speaking to you about the initial part of my ongoing research study, which is aimed to visualize factors of uncertainty, complexity, and their interactions by considering vulnerability and resilience concepts in public-private partnership projects. This paper is aimed to develop a conceptual model to explore uncertainty and complexity in public-private partnership projects and their impacts on project performance by considering vulnerability and resilience concepts. Based on this conceptual model, visual representations can further be developed to manage complexity, uncertainty, vulnerability, and resilience in public-private partnership projects. Nowadays, public-private partnerships are extensively used to deliver a series of public facilities and services in more than 85 countries. There are different forms of a PPP contract around the world, and here in Turkey, BOT is the mostly used and the famous one. Public-private partnership projects, similar to other construction projects, suffer from some problematic issues which are caused by uncertainty and complexity. The complexity theory was applied to project management in the 1990s. The significance of complexity to the project management process is extensively acknowledged afterward. What is clear is complexity is a crucial characteristic of construction project, but there is not any widely accepted definition of the term project complexity in the construction industry. And there is also a lack of consensus on what complexity is in the project management context, and sometimes the word complex is used where complicated is meant. To better understand the project complexity, projects can be seen as a hierarchy of simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic. In a simple project, the same action produces the same results every time, and all operations in a simple project are self-evident, predictable, and repeatable. Complicated projects can be defined as a group of simple projects but are not merely reducible to them. On the other hand, complex systems are identified by the terms of multiplicity, interdependence, and diversity. The greater the multiplicity, interdependence, and diversity, the higher the complexity. The same system configuration at the start allows for different results. Complexity is an attribute that makes understanding, predicting, and controlling the project challenging for project teams, even if they are well informed about the project. Another source of problematic issues in construction project is uncertainty. There are three different points of view on how uncertainty and complexity exert an influence over each other. Some researchers consider complexity as a source of uncertainty, another group categorizes uncertainty as a source of complexity, and the third group considers complexity and uncertainty as two independent concepts. Despite the lack of consensus on how uncertainty and complexity influence each other, there is a broad and clear consensus that both have a severe repercussion on project performance. The research plan of the in-progress parent study is set up on capturing the insight gained in past PPP projects, and it consists of 4 consecutive steps. First, semi-structured interviews will be arranged with experts who are involved in a PPP project. Then, considering the collected information during the semi-structured interview, a conceptual framework that depicts the interaction of complexity and uncertainty-related concepts will be developed. Next, distinctive alternative will be discussed and evaluated with a focus group study in order to fulfill PPP project stakeholders' visualization requirements. And finally, a computer tool will be programmed to visualize the conceptual framework. In order to lay the foundations for the semi-structured interviews and to conceptualize the organized information obtained from experts appropriately, a model that displays the relationship between uncertainty, complexity, and project performance factor is needed. After a comprehensive literature review, a delineation of the initial model has been prepared. In this representation, complexity and uncertainty have been considered as 2 independent concepts. which is the broadest and one of the widely accepted theories on how these concepts affect each other in the literature. In this model, complexity factors can directly or indirectly influence one or more uncertainty factors. However, an uncertainty factor does not have to be a consequence of a complexity factor. Although complexity has been generally identified as one of the drivers of uncertainty, intending to decrease the uncertainty degree of a project may increase the complexity level of the project. Therefore, a bidirectional relationship exists between complexity and uncertainty in the model. The thickness of the symbol for complexity, uncertainty, and performance factor represents their importance, whereas the thickness of arrows represent the significance of the relationship. Resilience and vulnerability took a place in this model. Resilience is a set-up strategy to cope with any disturbances, and it indicates how fast a project can recover from the undesirable consequences of a specific complexity or uncertainty factor. While vulnerability means how sensitive the project is to a complexity factor. The proposed model helps to conceptualize and organize information that will be collected later during semi-structured interviews. The validity of the proposed model will be further tested out during the interviews, and it will be updated in accordance. A conceptual framework will be developed by clustering the finding of the interviews on the proposed model. The validity of the conceptual framework will be tested out during a focus group study. Available visualization alternatives in the literature that can satisfy the decision maker's demand in PPP projects will be explored and discussed with participants of the focus group. At the end, a visualization tool will be programmed to visualize the relationship between complexity and uncertainty factors and their impacts on project performance indicator, as well as their ultimate impacts upon the success of PPP projects by considering resilience and vulnerability concepts. This visualization program is expected to provide decision makers in PPP projects a better understanding of the dynamic behavior of the project under uncertain and complex conditions. Thank you for watching my presentation.